3, 2, 1, 0.
Roger, the clock is operating. We're underway.
You're loud and clear.
Roger, we're programming and roll okay. A little bumpy along about here.
Roger. Stand by for 20 seconds.
Roger. We're smoothing out some now, getting out of the vibration area.
Roger, you feel max Q, flight path is...
Roger, feels good through max Q and smoothing out real fine. Cabin pressure coming down by 7. Okay, flight very smooth now. Sky looking very dark outside.
All Roger, reading you loud and clear, 7. Cape is go. We're standing by for you.
Roger, Cape is go and I am go. Our capsule is in good shape. Fuel 103, 102, oxygen 78,100. Cabin pressure holding steady at 5.8. Amps is 2.6. All systems are go, indicating 6G. Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. Capsule is turning around. Oh, that view is tremendous.
Roger, turnaround has started.
Roger, capsule turning around, and I could see the booster during turnaround just a couple of 100 yards behind me. It was beautiful.
Roger, 7. You have a go with at least 7 orbits.
Roger, understand go for at least 7 orbits. The Friendship 7 can see clear back a big cloud pattern way back across toward the Cape. We're all set. This is very comfortable at 0G. I have nothing but very fine feeling. It just feels very normal and very good. Have very little dirt floating around in the capsule, just a little bit, and preparing to take xylo still at present time. This is Friendship 7. The head movements cause no sensations whatsoever. Feel fine. Reach test, I can hit directly to any spot that I want to hit. I have no problem reaching for knobs and have adjusted to 0G very easily, much easier than I really thought I would. I have excellent vision on the charts, no astigmatism or any malfunctions at all. I feel fine so far, over.
Roger, understand.
This is Friendship 7, have beautiful view of the African coast, both in the scope and out the window. Out the window is by far the best view. Part of the Canaries was hidden by clouds. Roger, how you doing, Gordo? We're doing real fine up here. Everything is going very well, over.
Don, you sound good.
Roger, control fuel is 90,100, oxygen is 75,100, amps are 22. All systems are still go, having no problems at all. Control system operating fine, over. The only unusual thing I have noticed is a rather high, what would appear to be a haze layer, up some 7 or 8 degrees above the horizon on the night side. The stars, I can see through it as they go down toward the real horizon, but it's a very visible single band or layer pretty well up above the normal horizon, over.
Shortly, you may observe some lights down there. You want to take a check on them out to your right, over?
Roger, I'm all set to see if I can't get them in sight. Roger, I do have lights in sight on the ground, over.
You understand it, just off to your right there?
That's affirmative. Just to my right, I can see a big pattern of lights, apparently right on the coast. I can see the outline of a town and a very bright light just to the south of it. On down. Roger, the lights show up very well. Thank everybody for turning along, will you?
Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop. Oh, it doesn't say now playing. Let's fix that. Let's fix that in the top left. There we go. Turn down the tunes. All right, you guys are gonna have to help me wake up. I'm a very sleepy son of a bitch this afternoon. This afternoon, it's not even afternoon. HelloGreedo. It's evening. Yeah, welcome guys. Let's hang out for about an hour. The topic of conversation this evening is, what is your favorite sequel trilogy movie? I will get to mine in a second. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about this topic through and through for quite a long time. But yeah, I see a lot of TLJ. I see a lot of Force Awakens in the chat while I was sitting here waiting for things to kick off. I haven't seen very many Rise of Skywalkers, and I'm very curious if anybody watching this stream right now, if their favorite sequel trilogy movie is The Rise of Skywalker. I'd love to hear from some people, right? I don't want everybody to just dogpile on a movie. That's no fun. But Vince Wynn and Carter Lovejoy, thank you guys so much for the first super chats and channel supports of the stream before the stream even technically began. I appreciate that, guys. Vince Wynn coming in with the yet another movie recommendation here. So I've never seen this. I know what it is though. Vince. Part 3, 1990s, The Insider, 1999, director Michael Mann, starring Russell Crowe, Al Pacino, Christopher Plummer. Duel of the Fates, my favorite. Duel of the Fates is your favorite? Nice. So, I know what this movie. It's about the tobacco lobby, right? Or, let me see. The Insider. Yep. Okay. After seeking expertise of former, maybe I don't know exactly how it goes. Big Tobacco executive Russell Crowe, seasoned TV producer. Suspect story lies behind reluctant to speak. So I've never seen this, but I'm pretty sure I know kind of the gist of it. Is it a true story? It sounds like something that would be. Oh, it's a fictionalized account of a true story. Okay. It's based on a 60-minute segment of... Okay. That makes sense. So it's a fictionalized true story. All right. I guess all movies are kind of fictionalized true stories when it comes to based on a true story, right? So, no, this is something that I've known about for a very long time. I've never seen it. And I think this is kind of the exact type of movie that me and my wife like to watch. So... I will keep this up here because I know she would be interested in checking it out too. Turns a moral issue into riveting suspense. Fascinating whistleblower story for older teens. The movie goes on a nail-biting tear. Supremely suspenseful and riveting dramatic tour de force. All right, I appreciate the recommendation there, Vince. That is one that I've known about for a very long time, and I've just never watched it. But anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Carter Lovejoy, thank you so much for the channel support this evening as well. Do you think Lucasfilm needed a Kevin Feige type to run the sequel trilogy and where it needed to go? Like a composer at the front of the orchestra. I don't know if that's kind of tough to say, man. I like the idea of like a story group, a bunch of people kind of in a room coming up with ideas and directing things, not just one person, if that makes sense. So no, I wouldn't say it needed somebody like Kevin Feige or even Kevin Feige himself, but I don't know. Did it need a George Lucas? Is that kind of where this question's going, I suppose? I guess you're never going to get one of those, right? But no. Overall, man, I kind of like the idea of a committee of people that are invested in the stories and whatnot and hashing things out. That being said, writers and directors that are put in charge of projects, I want them to have absolute control of the project that they're making, right? I have a deep-seated philosophy. I actually wrote a video today and recorded audio where I mentioned this. But I have a deep-seated philosophy, an unshakable philosophy that creative people should be unshackled, not feel hamstrung with what came before, and not feel any outside pressure, and make the vision that they want to make, right? So, a conductor at the front of the orchestra? Sure, yeah, I mean, I suppose so. I don't know. I don't know, and I honestly don't know enough about Feige To tell you the truth, I haven't seen very many Marvel movies or anything like that. I've seen most of the older ones, the early stuff, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say. It's really tough to say, because if you have one person, then things might start feeling formulaic, right? I don't know. Vince Wynn, I appreciate the coffee cup there and the wake up Greedo. I'm actually drinking as you know. It's tradition now. I always make 4 cups of coffee before I stream. I have a mug. It's actually a Today Show mug that's in front of me. That's exactly 4 cups of coffee. And that is the tradition around here on these HelloGreedo streams. Oh, one sec.
Going ahead with the second sequel trilogy X1112, what would you hope for? I hope they don't, but if they had to, I'd want it set at least 100 years after Tross.
Sashi Marie Don't Know, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support this evening, man. I appreciate that. Give me one sec. All right. So, yeah, Vince, always coffee, always in front of me. As you guys know, I make 12 cups of coffee every single morning. And that is for me and my wife, and she probably has about 4, and I have about 8 because I wake up at 4:30. And by the time she wakes up, I've already consumed a ton. And my belly's full with a bunch of black coffee. And then in the afternoon, I make 4 more cups when I put my daughter down for a nap and I get to work on things. And then when I stream, I make 4 more cups. Is that good for your gut? Probably not. Anyway, I appreciate that, Vince. In Star Wars Story, thank you so much. Good to see you, man, for the super chat and channel support. Tell your sister you were right. This line truly serves a purpose in episode 9 as Leia gives her life to try and redeem her son as her father was. Oh yeah, absolutely. That kind of parallel was not lost on me for sure. Obviously with her kind of, I suppose, saving Ben the way she did. There's a lot of kind of mystery there, right? And I don't need that explained. I liked that. That's The Rise of Skywalker, this didn't really do much for me. It's definitely by far my least favorite in the sequel trilogy and one of my least favorite Star Wars movies. But that was I really liked that aspect of it, despite, things not being explained. There's a lot of woo-woo and magical thinking when it comes to Star Wars, and I'm completely fine with that. And I liked that kind of that self-sacrifice that we saw on screen for sure. I know people have an issue with certain things not being explained, or like new force powers or new abilities or whatever. I've never been like a hyper detail oriented Star Wars fan. I actually talked about this in a video that I'm probably going to put out next week. I'm going out of town next week, like late next week, so I'm kind of saving up a bunch of videos and scheduling them for when I'm gone. But I talked about that. I said, I've never been like a hyper detail oriented Star Wars fan to where, if something happens, I kick and scream about it breaking canon or breaking the laws of the universe. That's why I didn't have an issue with the Holdo maneuver, right? It breaks the laws of Star Wars. Well, how did it make you feel, though, man? How did it make you feel? That's what I'm all about, right? And I liked that moment. I liked the redemption through Leia, But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that story. And Seshi Maru, don't know. Thank you so much for the super chat and channel support, man. If Disney announced that they were going ahead with a second sequel trilogy, 10, 11, and 12, what would you hope for? I hope they don't, but if they had to, I'd want it set at least 100 years after The Rise of Skywalker. Let me take a quick sip of the old coffee so I can think about this for a second. All right. So, let's say they do make another sequel trilogy after this sequel trilogy. What would it be called? The sequel trilogy? I don't know. Trust me, I'm kind of in the camp where I do think we will get 10, 11, and 12 in the distant future. Maybe it's 30 years from now, right? Maybe it's 20 years from now. I've said this a lot, Sesshimaru, but when, let's say 30 years from now, when there's an entire new group of people in control of Star Wars, all new blood, in control of Star Wars, do you think they're going to sit back and go, oh, those people in the year 2019 made the last Star Wars episodic film? No, they're not going to do that. They're going to make more, right? Absolutely. And you asked what I would hope that they do. And you specifically said at least 100 years after the Rise of Skywalker. I'm in agreement with you. Not necessarily about 100 years, sure. Time scale, yeah. Distant future, very distant future, sure. I'm completely on board with that, because it would be kind of fun to see follow. Oh, one sec.
Deus Ex, Human Revolution 2011, and you'll got to watch Curb Your Enthusiasm 2000. This has been Vince with You Got to Do Something Cause and Say So.
Thanks, Vince. I appreciate that, man. Give me one sec. But Sesshimaru, yeah, I would prefer it be set in the distant future, where the events of the original trilogy, prequel trilogy, and the sequel trilogy have kind of resonated and echoed through the future. Maybe a lot of it is mythology now. Maybe a lot of it is kind of like campfire tales. But I think going away from kind of the timeline that we're very familiar with the OT, the PT, and the ST, would be the best move, because you would kind of have a clean slate almost, right? You could still pepper in stuff from the past, maybe lessons from the past, and events from the past kind of shaping the future. I would love to see a world where the first order's decimated, Palpatine's gone, the Galactic Empire's fallen. Where does this world go in the distant future? That's what interests me, So, yeah, if they do, and I think they will, at some point, right? At some point, when they do it, I would prefer it be set in the pretty distant future, right? But yeah, and have no characters that we're familiar with whatsoever. Get away from that and just kind of tell the stories in this kind of linear episodic timeline that are going on years after these events took place, right? But I don't know what else they could do. That'd be interesting to me. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, Sesshimaru. And Fofo Nablis, thank you so much as well, man. TLJ, that film to this day, I can never get bored of watching. Even the Canto Bite scenes, which I find so prequelish. That's a good way to put it. Yet fun, plus the Yoda scene. So, is it super professional to slip on coffee heavily during a live stream? I think so. So, Fofo, I'm with you. TLJ is my favorite sequel trilogy movie. It's my fourth favorite Star Wars movie. Followed by The Force Awakens. So I like Force Awakens and TLJ for very different reasons. And as this video that I'm going to be putting out next week is titled, The Rise of Skywalker made me appreciate The Last Jedi even more than I already did. TLJ, the concepts in TLJ from the Force connection between Kylo and Rey, loved that stuff. I absolutely loved how Luke Skywalker was in the movie. I absolutely loved the ending. I will never forget the feeling of realizing that Luke wasn't actually there on Crate. That theater going experience, that feeling that I had sitting down in that theater and watching that for the first time and going, God damn, that's clever, man. God damn, that's clever. The concepts and ideas in that movie, in my opinion, are some of the best in the entire saga. And you pointed out Canto Bite. That's the stuff that when it's on screen, I just kind of like, it's let's hurry up and get to the other stuff. Let's hurry up and get to the good stuff, Canto Bite is kind of, I understand what he's going for. And to tell you the truth, when I watch The Last Jedi kind of nowadays, Canto Bight actually goes by really quick. It's not as much as when you sit down in the theater, it felt like it was so much of the movie, but after subsequent viewings, you realize it's not that much, and it's pretty subdued compared to the rest. So, yeah, like The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, I love for very, very different reasons. The Rise of Skywalker is just kind of, it's just kind of there. But yeah, I agree with you, Fofo. And I appreciate that channel support this evening. And Vince Wynn, thank you so much. Y'all got to play Deus Ex Human Revolution 2011. And y'all got to watch Curb Your Enthusiasm 2000. This has been Vince with You Got to Do Something Because I Say So. I've done both. Deus Ex Human Revolution, that came out... Human Revolution 2011. I owned it on the PC. When did the first one come out? I own that one as well. 2000. Okay. Wow, that's crazy. That's really hard to believe. So I played quite a bit of the first one, the very, very first original Deus Ex. Human Revolution is one that I remember playing a little bit. I believe there's like heavy stealth mechanics, right? I think there's like heavy stealth mechanics in that game. Could be wrong. Could be thinking of something else. But for whatever reason, I'm thinking there's heavy stealth mechanics in that game. And whenever like there are games with heavy stealth mechanics, for one, I kind of lack patience. I just want to go, go, go. And number two, I suck at it for that reason. And I think a game like that, if I'm remembering it correctly, I just stopped playing it because I couldn't get into it that much because of that. I could be wrong. It's like Splinter Cell. I liked the first Splinter Cell, but it was the same kind of thing for me. Like after the first little bit, I kind of got it. I get it. And I suck at stealth games, and same thing. The only stealth game, or stealthy game as you put it, I suppose, that I remember playing from start to finish is Alien Isolation. And that was just such a different type of, that was like a horror stealth game set in the Alien universe, and that was just different bread, but yeah. Anyway. Is that real? Carter? I mean, he's got to be almost 100, right? 103. Wow. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, Kirk Douglas died. Huh. Crazy. Yeah, like 10 years ago or so, I didn't realize that he was still living. 10 years ago. And it's 103 years old. That is insane. Insane. Yeah, I grew up watching Spartacus, man. I had the 2 VHS copy of Spartacus, and when I was like in elementary school, in middle school, oh my god, I watched that movie so much, dude. But yeah. 103. That's a hell of a life, that's for sure. Crazy. But man. But I appreciate that, Vince. And Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah, if somebody on this stream hasn't seen Curb, you have to. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you're a huge Seinfeld fan as well, then, Vince. I grew up watching that too. Curb it's so damn situationally funny. I love it. It makes you cringe. It's hilarious. Yeah, I haven't seen the season that just came out. And I haven't seen the season before that, the relatively new season either. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Vince. And Josh Gonzalez, thank you so much, man. Finally heading to Galaxy's Edge this weekend. Super excited. Best recommendations, HG and Fleet. Cheers. Cheers right back to you, man. Enjoy that. It's a good time. It's definitely a good time. One of the biggest recommendations that I have, Josh, and I didn't get to do this because I didn't know that you needed to do this, but definitely as soon as you get into Galaxy's Edge, and try to be one of the first people in. I don't know how crazy it is now, but when I went, it was nuts. But I recommend going immediately to where like the cantina is and putting your name. I think you put your name in at the cantina. I could be wrong. Double check me on that. But go immediately to the cantina, put your name down in a time slot that you can get in. Because when we went, I went with some other like EA Game Changers. We didn't know that you needed to put your name down to get into the cantina. And we were just expecting to be able to, you know, walk right up and be able to go in. No, there's a huge waiting list and it goes quick. So, I would absolutely do that immediately when you get into the park. Immediately. Like you can wait in the Rise of Resistance ride. You can wait. You can't miss out on the cantina just to go in and have a drink, right? Take a load off. Maybe get a time slot later in the afternoon, after lunch or something like that, before dinner. I would definitely do that. And then I would, you know, I mean, when I went, the Rise of Resistance ride was not open. Just the Millennium Falcon ride. And I didn't really care for it. I mean, it was okay. The Millennium Falcon ride, I would, if the Millennium Falcon ride is like an hour wait, and the Rise of Resistance ride is like 2 hours, 3 hours, wait for the Rise of Resistance. Do that. Just get in line, get it done, right? That's what I've heard is amazing. I honestly don't know too much about it. I've talked to some of my family who's been down there to ride it, and they say it's mind-blowing. But I've actually purposefully not been reading or looking at anything about that ride, just because, you know, eventually we're gonna make our way down there, and check it out. But yeah. Anyway, enjoy it, Josh. Be sure to tweet a ton of pictures while you're down there. I appreciate that, man. Wait, are you going to Disney World or Disneyland? Curious. I've been to Disney World, oh my god, so many times, just to live in 2 hours away from it, you know. Only been to Disneyland once, and that was last June. But yeah. All right. But I appreciate that, Josh. Rise of Resistance is unfortunately still boarding pass only. You have to be one of the first in the park and sign up for right away. Really? That's crazy. Well, I mean, that's what you're... Disneyland. Nice. Okay, so that's what you're down there for, right? That's what you're at Disneyland for. So, why not get up super early and just be there? You know, beat everybody. Overshoot it. Overshoot the opening time by a long time and just, you know, hang out and see what you want to see. But yeah, that's awesome, man. Have fun. Yeah, like I said, tweet a ton of pictures. But I appreciate that. And Carter Lovejoy, thank you so much, man. When time machines exist, I'll go back to November 4th, 1994, to when Lucas started writing The Phantom Menace and used the Reality Stone to show the outcome for his franchise. Reality Stone. That's a Marvel thing, huh? Let's see. The Reality Stone was one of the 6 Infinity Stones. I still haven't seen that movie. The remnant of a singularity that predated the universe, which represented the fabric of reality, liquefied into dark blah 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 blah. Dan, there's a lot of fantasy stuff in that stuff, huh? Origin, first attempt. So what does it do? It shows the future? Is that what it's doing? Interesting. I don't think he'd make any changes. I think that's predestined, man. I think it's predestined. Not really. I don't believe in that, but I wonder what he would do. You showed the reception to the movies that he made. Would he change anything? I don't think so. I don't think so. He's spoken openly about, like, not necessarily giving fans what they want, right? He's talked about that quite a bit, making the movies that he wants to make. So, Pretty much shows the future. Okay. So yeah, I'm curious. I mean, well, I take that back. Like, if somebody could show you the outcome of a decision that you made 10 years ago, now, right? Or 10 years in the future, would that change the way you go about things? Or are you kind of not in any kind of like woo-woo hippy-dippy way predestined, but it's kind of like a biological pull to what you are going to end up doing in a way, if that makes sense. So, I don't know. Would he? I'm not sure. I don't know. Anyway, I appreciate that, Carter. If a time machine does exist and you have one trip to go, please do not use it on that. Please do not use it on that. Use your time machine. Use your time machine for something a little more important, I suppose. See something that you really want to see. Where would you guys go if you had a time machine with one there and back trip? Where would you go? I don't really have an interest in seeing the past. The past, it's kind of a hazy. I mean, it's very hazy. The past, right? We have written records. Only until recently we have photos and video, audio. But I'm pretty comfortable with the past in that hazy layer of past, right? I would want to go in the distant future. A couple thousand years from now. See what we're up to. If we make it. See how it's hopefully that maybe I'm looking at things with rose-colored the next generation glasses, but I'd love to see, where these humans end up, right? But yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Alejandro Moody, thank you so much for the channel support this evening too. Watch Michael Mann's Manhunter, first Hannibal. Okay, wait. Is this what I'm thinking of? Oh, no. This is not what I'm thinking of. Is that... Oh, I thought that was Marlon Brando. That is not Marlon Brando. Alejandro, I don't believe I've ever heard of this movie. Michael Mann introduces audience to Hannibal Lecter for the first time in Manhunter, a modish thriller that fleshes out Thomas Harris's heinous creations with an elegant, chilling detachment. I don't think I've actually ever heard of this. Wow, that's a very, memorable cast. I recognize most of these people. Chris Elliott. This movie came out in... When did this come out? Oh, 1986. I thought it said 77. Interesting. First Hannibal film. Okay, let's see. Huh, interesting. To tell you the truth, I did not know that this existed, Alejandro. I might have to bookmark that for some Halloween watch in Halloween 2020. Interesting. Yeah, man, I did not know this existed. All right. It's got really good reviews, too. I am always introduced to new shows and new movies and stuff like that I've never seen before or heard of. I feel like every single stream. Very stylish 80s thriller. All right, nice. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Like I said, I had no idea that this existed, that this was the first kind of debut of Hannibal Lecter. Interesting. You'll learn something new. But I appreciate that, man. And I appreciate the recommendation this evening. And Game Station 3, thank you so much for the Super Chat and channel support. I'd love to see a new canon film adaptation of Tales of the Jedi. Do I recognize the cover? No, I don't. Oh. Wait, is this the comic book series? Is there a book? Okay, let's see. Tales of the Jedi is a series of comic books, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so 1993 to 1998. I don't think I've ever read these. I recognize the Tales of the Jedi logo just by virtue of being a Star Wars fan. But I don't remember ever reading any of these, to tell you the truth. Tales of the Jedi is a series of comic books published by Dark Horse Comics between 1993 and 1998. They are part of the fictional Star Wars expanded universe and cover the Great Sith War and the Great Hyperspace War. So no. It's a comic that takes place 5,000 years before A New Hope, Game Station says. Interesting. I like that idea. I don't know if necessarily... Oh, it's an omnibus, too. They have it for sale in a giant... like, how many pages is this? 395-page thingy. That'd actually be kind of fun to have. That's the way if I do read comics, which is rare, that's what I do. I buy giant collections in one book for my sanity. but no, I've never read these. But I do like the idea thousands of years before New Hope. I like that idea. And I would love for them to explore that kind of timeline too. Not necessarily with those stories, beat for beat, not necessarily with even the same premise whatsoever. If they want to kind of completely redo something, I'm all for that. But in terms of going back in time and kind of looking into what happened back then, that is very ideal for me. Kind of go into some timeline, some timeline spots where it is a complete mystery as to what happens. But yeah, I wish I was more into comics, man. I've never. The only comic stuff that I ever read heavily as a kid, and not even heavily, I use that loosely, but was Superman stuff. I did have a pretty sizable stack of Star Wars comics. I gave pretty much all of those away, except for a few that I had good memories of. I gave most of my comics away at well, if you guys have been following the channel since its creation, you probably know the little charity book drive that I had. I think that was in 2013 or something like that. But yeah, never been that big into comics for whatever reason. But yeah. But I appreciate that, Game Station. It was also the inspiration for Knights of the Old Republic. Oh, nice. Okay. Nice. Interesting. They all sucked. Really? You didn't like any of them? That's a bummer. You sound like somebody in 1999, man. Sequels were... See, I thought The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi were pretty solid. A disgrace to Star Wars? What? Oh, come on, man. That's silly. I thought one of the giant statues on Exegol looked like Revan, actually. I didn't really I need to wait until it comes out on Blu-ray for home viewing, right? Watch a little more, dissect it a little more, but to be able to, pause and look at stuff. But interesting. I'm sure there are a lot of little Easter eggs like that peppered throughout the movie, and I'm sure some of the statues and whatnot are definitely going to be, taken from or inspired by maybe even things of Legends, right? Yeah. Are you actually getting closer to Andromeda, Jake Jacobs? No. I would love to animate that sometime. Closer and closer and closer. The thing is, though, all right, you guys want to have a little classic HelloGreedo Lightspeed Lounge science lesson here? So, the Andromeda Galaxy, and you might already know this. You might already know this, Jake. The Andromeda Galaxy is 2.5 million light years away from us. That means when you see the Andromeda Galaxy, you can actually see it with the naked eye if it's really dark, and you can also see it with the telescope from ground. That means if you look at the Andromeda Galaxy, the light that is hitting your eyes or your telescope took 2.5 million years to hit you. That's crazy. 2.5 million years at the speed of light, that light came to you. So, if I am flying in the Lightspeed Lounge in my Subaru Crosstrek at the speed of light, and let's say I am, let's just call it 3/4 of the way there. I'm getting pretty close. Then I still have a hell of a long time, many, many hundreds of thousands of years until I reach the Andromeda Galaxy, going at the speed of light, which 186,000 miles a second, right? Speed of light. 186,000 miles per second. 186,000 miles per second. Still have a long way to go. So 3/4. Let's see. Got like, I don't know. Anyway, crazy. But yeah. I tried liking the prequels, but I just can't. Paul, Leo. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate them. I don't have any. I don't like love them. I don't hate them. They just are, and I appreciate the world building of it. You know, I found things too that I appreciate. I appreciate the chances it took. I appreciate it for not rehashing what came before. Right. I appreciate it for pushing boundaries. So there's a sense of appreciation that I have for them for sure, but I don't love them through and through. Yeah. And Vince Wynn, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support once again, man. After you make Wookiee cookies on your cooking show, you need to make Greedo's famous scrambled sukas. Gotta do it before binging with Babish does. All right. Oh, nobody's probably done scrambled suka video. Suka. That's not a bad idea, actually. Did you know that you could cook a goddamn egg in the microwave? When we were living with my folks for 6 months while this house was being built, my dad cooks eggs in the microwave. It comes out as like perfect little hockey pucks if you microwave it in a bowl. And then you can just put it on some bread or an English muffin. It's perfectly pattied out. Nice and fluffy. You crack an egg into a bowl, mix it all around, pour some milk in there, whisk it up, and then put it in the microwave for like a minute to like a minute and a half or so. I did not know that. That would be my cooking video, Vince, for eggs. For sukas. No, but, yeah, eventually I'll probably start making From Trooper to Table again. I would like to actually do a couple relatively, like, serious episodes of From Trooper to Table. I think it would be fun to do some like really well shot and edited From Trooper to Table videos. The couple that I've done, and I think I've done 2 and maybe 1 that was kind of sprinkled in another video. You know, they were just kind of like dump the ribs into a crock pot and turn it on for 8 hours on low. That was about it. But I would love to actually do one that you know, it has some detail and some discussion. Well, yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Vince. Let's see. Air Pokemon Naruto. Greedo, how do you feel about the sequel trilogy overall? I really like The Force Awakens, and I really like The Last Jedi. The Rise of Skywalker, it's one of my least favorite Star Wars movies, man. So, you know, I don't let it bum me out like The Last Jedi bummed out a ton of people and they wouldn't stop talking about how it bummed them out, right? I'm going to continue talking about The Rise of Skywalker, right? But I've made what, 2 videos about The Rise of Skywalker in the past month and a half. So, you know, it is what it is. You move on and you say, what's next, right? So, I thought the sequel trilogy was a 2 for 3. I liked it overall. I liked it more than the prequel trilogy. And yeah, so the Last Jedi is one of my favorite Star Wars movies. It's my 4th on my ranking list. I know everybody doesn't like to rank their Star Wars movies, but everybody does it. So, and The Force Awakens was just kind of like a fun, here we're back, punch in the gut of nostalgia, you know. So anyway. Oh, that reminds me, if you guys Across the Galaxy podcast, this was the first time that I've been on a where is it? This is the first time I've been on a podcast in I don't even know, man. Maybe 2 years. Where can I go? Oh, here. Okay, so I'm just gonna throw a link to the podcast in the chat, but it's on any podcasting app that you listen to. I use Pocket Cast on my Google Pixel 2, and you can find it there. You can find it on iTunes and stuff. But I had a lot of fun talking to the guy from Across the Galaxy, and it was just a really enjoyable, low-key, fun conversation. And I'd recommend checking it out and checking out the podcast. He's got a lot of fun guests and stuff like that. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out there. But it's Making Star Wars Network. It's I don't actually know how it works. I know that Making Star Wars has a lot of podcasts kind of under their belt that are a part of the network. I don't know if he actually, we didn't discuss that. I don't know if he started on that network or what, but yeah, let me see something. So the guy's name is Pete Fletzer, and he actually used to write for a magazine called Star Wars Galaxy. Yeah, he did really good job hosting a podcast. I had a lot of fun. Anyway, Seshimaru Dono, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support, man. What's your least favorite thing about your favorite Star Wars movie, and your favorite thing about your least favorite Star Wars movie? Oh man, so okay, that's a lot. It's really difficult for me to think about my least favorite thing about A New Hope, because I got those childhood blinders on, right? It's the movie that kickstarted it all, and I love it through and through. The problems that I have with A New Hope, which is my favorite Star Wars movie, by the way, really come with the special edition stuff. I know that's a cop-out, so I'll think about it a little harder. My favorite thing about my least favorite Star Wars movie, and my least favorite Star Wars movie is Attack of the Clones. So my favorite thing about my least favorite movie, Attack of the Clones, is probably just Palpatine. The scheming, the knowing what transpires later on, knowing where things go, knowing that Palpatine is scheming, he's vying for power, he's playing a long game of chess. The scenes where Palpatine are discussing things with a Jedi, and he's planting seeds of doubt or leading them in a direction, and we kind of, as the audience, we know what's ultimately going to happen, and we kind of know that the Jedi, everybody's kind of in the dark, and we know this kind of evil bastard is plotting and planning and being patient and playing that long game of chess. So that's not one pinpointed thing that I can specifically talk about a scene or whatnot, but just that overall feeling is in the prequel trilogy. It's something that I like seeing. But my least favorite thing about my favorite movie, which is A New Hope, God, if I exclude special edition stuff, my least favorite thing, oh my God, dude, that's really difficult. Because when I think about certain scenes, certain things, I want to know what you guys would say. What's your least favorite thing about A New Hope? What's your? I want to see what you guys would say, because when I think of certain things, I think of the slow opening beginning. I think of the innocence of Luke. I love it. I love all that. I love the build up. It's a slow burn. It's and once it gets going, it's a fun, fast-paced, adventurous flick, and yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Some of the acting. I don't know. Like I people always point out Luke, you know, the Hamill's acting in A New Hope. I like it. It has a and trust me, I'm wearing nostalgia goggles here, man. It's impossible. They're welded to my face. I can't take them off. But I like it. I like it. It's this kind of like whiny innocence, you know. A complete contrast to what he ultimately becomes, right? Clunky dialogue in A New Hope. It's easy to ignore, but it stand out in a distracting way. I find the dialogue in a lot of the other Star Wars movies to be more clunky, to tell you the truth. And once again, big old fat, giant, magnifying nostalgia glasses. Trust me. The stormtroopers are incompetent, but Obi-Wan claims they're elite. Yeah, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me either, you know. Man. Overuse of screen wipes, that doesn't bother me either. It's... the Death Star action. Oh, you didn't like that? I was going to say, that's some of my favorite stuff. It's constant, like, running. It's just fast-paced corridors, blasting. I love it. It's some of my favorite action in the entire saga. When there's about 100 of them aiming at one Han Solo. Well, yeah, it's... The thing is, it didn't... I mean, you probably know this, if I had to pick it. Yeah, you probably know this, John. For the special editions, they added all those stormtroopers. Originally, I think there was like 6, maybe. But then they digitally added like a ton. Let's see. I'll post a link. I'm sure you guys know this, but I'll post a side-by-side photo. I'm sure somebody has it. Han Solo, A New Hope. Stormtroopers Special Edition. I'm really good at Googling. Never mind, that didn't get me anywhere. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna post a link to... So it comes back to special edition. Yeah. Here's a link to the comparison. I liked the original version just because, you know, he's chasing these 5 or 6 stormtroopers. Wow, it's actually 6. I can't believe I got the number right. He's chasing these 6 stormtroopers down a corridor, and when he, you know, rounds the corner, one of them has like turned around and they're kind of waiting for him. You know, they've set him in a trap. I don't mind the change, but it is a change, right? And I would rather watch the original version any day, just because that is what I grew up with, and I don't like things being tinkered and toyed with, right? But yeah, that is the comparison if you want to check it out. But anyway, Session Marie, long story short, it's very, very difficult for me to pick. And it all boils down to the special edition changes, to tell you the truth, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. Luke never went to the Tashi station to pick up power converters. There you go, Air Pokemon. That change is funny to me because all those stormtroopers are just standing there doing nothing. Seems like they were ordered to stand around. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very weird looking. It's a very weird looking scene. The change, like the actual visual of the change never really bothered me. It's just the change itself, the fact that it was changed, right? I've always kind of looked at it as they almost seem to be kind of standing at attention and looking forward at something. And then a couple of them are turning their heads to look and see what the commotion is, right? But I vowed to myself that I'm not going to get the OT on Blu-ray until they release an unaltered cut. Yeah, no, that's not a, I mean, yeah, that's not a bad reason to not get it, for sure. I'm not going to buy any more, like, box sets. I'm not going to buy any more re-releases. You know, I have the Blu-rays. I'm fine with that. I will never buy, if they release them on 4K, I'm not going to get that either, to tell you the truth. Unless it is the unaltered theatrical cuts, right? Yeah, just because, I mean, we got the Despecialized edition, right? I have 4K 77. That's awesome, too. And I'm pretty content with that. But if they released a box set of the unaltered versions in 4K, that's when I would end up buying it. But yeah. What's your least favorite change to any of the OT, Declan? My least favorite change, special edition change. I have a couple. And one, it's... You might think that it's the Han and Greedo confrontation. It's not. I think my least... It's really tough, though, man. But I think my least favorite Star Wars change is the Jabba the Hutt hangar scene in A New Hope. I really don't like it. Not even because it's visually clunky. Not even because any of that stuff. I don't like it because it kills the mystery for anybody who is experiencing this saga for the first time, or at least watching the original trilogy for the first time. Because, you know, the name Jabba the Hutt is said through A New Hope. It's said through The Empire Strikes Back. You never saw him. I know they recorded that scene. They videoed that. They filmed that scene, rather. That was ultimately deleted, right? Cool. Great. But they deleted it. And it actually served a really interesting purpose in deleting it. Maybe unintentionally. Definitely unintentionally. So, through A New Hope and through The Empire Strikes Back, you hear this name, Jabba the Hutt. You hear this name, Jabba the Hutt. Nobody knows what he looks like. That's interesting, right? You see him. What is he going to look like? What is this Jabba the Hutt guy going to look like? And you see him in Return of the Jedi. I think that's my least favorite change for that reason. It's a complete killing of mystery for no other reason. That added scene in Jabba in the hangar in A New Hope in Mos Eisley is redundant. All the information that we needed was in the conversation between Han and Greedo. That scene added absolutely nothing. But yeah, anyway. Arf, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. Arf said, thanks for streaming. Got into a car wreck a couple days ago in my high school parking lot. Streamers like you help. Jeez, man, I hope everything's all right. I hope if it was in a parking lot, it wasn't too crazy. I hope you were wearing your seatbelt. Regardless, the most dangerous wrecks are the ones where I'm just driving around the block. I don't need my seatbelt, right? Always wear your goddamn seatbelt. But that's such a headache, right? And hopefully everybody was cool. I've been in a couple accidents. None of them were my fault. My first ever accident, arf. I was going, it was like maybe 9 o'clock, and I was going about, 45. The speed limit was 45. It was kind of on a road that is kind of outside of my parents' neighborhood. I was like 16 or 17, and I was going steady, and a car blew a stop sign, and I ended up T-boning them at 45. Completely totaled the car. Not my fault at all. I actually knew the kids, and I could tell that there was something wrong with them. But one of the driver's daddy actually knew the cop who showed up to the scene. So guess what he did not get? He did not get a breathalyzer. He did not get a ticket. He got off scot-free. He hopped in his parents' car and drove home. But yeah. Arf arf. It's a huge headache though, right? It's a huge headache. But at least you're all right. And you know, it all boils down to shit happens. You know, it is just things, right? It is a headache. It's time consuming. You got to deal with crap and paperwork, but it's all right, right? It's all good. But yeah, I'm glad these little silly streams can help, man. I appreciate that channel support this evening. And hope it's still drivable. I'm sure it is. No, I didn't die, Sergio. Yes, I did. And Adrian Polos, thank you so much for the channel support. I'm donating money, but to let you know I hate you. Aw, bummer, dude. That's all right. It's all right. We all... hate is a strong word. How can you hate somebody? How can you hate somebody? I can't name a person on earth that I hate. People aren't serious enough to hate, man. But it's all right. I appreciate the channel support, even though you hate the old HelloGreedo. But thanks, Adrian. I hope you have a good evening, or morning, or afternoon, wherever you are on this big planet. And Cyrus Jabari, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support, man. One of the most perplexing things to me is Lucas being okay with releasing the theatrical cuts in 2006, but not any other time. Oh, and TFA is my favorite. Let me take a quick sip. So, yeah, I with the DVD, yeah, it was like in 2006 there was a DVD. You could buy a DVD of each of the films, and it came with the special editions and the theatrical cuts. I don't understand why that hasn't been the case moving forward. Where I mean, that's ideal, right, Cyrus? That's completely ideal. I would have no problem whatsoever with the special editions if there was that option, like a director's cut, right? You buy the Blade Runner 5-pack Blu-ray disc, and it comes with every version possible. I want that for my Star Wars collection, right? It is strange. It is very strange. In my drawer right now, I actually have... I'm gonna take a picture of this. I'll tweet it out as my Xbox controller falls on the floor. If I can get this out of my drawer. Oh my god, so much bullshit in this drawer. Alright. So, if you guys follow me on the old Twitter, let's see how this picture turns out. Oh, that does not look good. Unless it's still processing. What is this picture? Oh, it has to be still processing. Yep, there we go. Let me take another one. It's all blurry. I'm gonna tweet out this picture right below the tweet that I posted, that saying that I was going live. You guys can see it. Let's see how that turns out. Probably better. But what I'm taking a picture of is my original... The last time the theatrical cuts were on VHS. Alright. Tweeting going out. This is taking way too much time, isn't it? All right, from the stream. Cool. So, yeah, it's as you said, it's perplexing for sure. I don't get it. It's weird to me. It's just kind of like a big bummer. It's like one of those things that, you know, why? It's like it's a problem that doesn't need to exist, right? It doesn't make sense to me. If you believe so much in the special editions, the thing that you change, it's like a director's cut or whatever you want to call it. If you believe in that so much to where that is the version that you want people to see, then test it. Put it up in the same box set as the special or the original theatrical cuts, right? So, I don't know. I don't get it, man. But I've been holding out hope for a long time. I've been on YouTube and doing this thing and talking about Star Wars for 9 years. 9 years. And I used to be really, really hopeful. And I used to believe every single rumor. There used to be like a new rumor of the theatrical cuts coming out every single year, right? New rumor. I used to believe them. Hook, line, and sinker just because I was hopeful. But over the past maybe 4 or 5 years, I've just like, I'm not going to believe any of that shit anymore until it's coming from an official source, right? But anyway, I appreciate that, Cyrus. And TFA is your favorite. There you go. Fond memories of seeing that on opening night, right? The build up, the anticipation. What is this going to be? Exciting for sure. But I appreciate that, man. And Arf, once again, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support this evening. Arf said, got T-boned by another student. Guy cut through a parking space to try and get out faster. Luckily, I drive a 2004 Volvo, which is a tank. Nice. My buddy in high school, so one of my best friends, drove a Volvo as well. That was kind of our road trip car for a long time until I got my big ass 1996 Ford Explorer. It's fun. But that sucks, man. That sucks. At least it wasn't your fault. At least, yeah, that sucks. Guy cut through a parking space. Not looking, right? Just driving fast. A kid in a car, going fast through a parking spot. You gotta, man, especially since I had a kid, I am so defensive. I'm such a defensive driver. 10-2. I take no chances. Me as a driver before I had a kid and me as a driver with a kid, seeing her in the back mirror, sitting there reading like a Superman book. I'm not gonna, what am I gonna do? Act like I'm 16 again? But, yeah, Arf. I appreciate that, man. And, that's a headache, but at least you're alright. It'll get fixed, right? It'll get fixed. Oh, man. What's up, Took? Good to see you, man. Adrian, what do you think I am? You think I'm a baby? You think I'm a baby, Adrian? Thanks for the laugh, man. That's hilarious. I love that, dude. I legitimately love that. I've said this for a long time, Adrian. If I was a kid and I had access to the internet and like YouTube was a thing and streaming was a thing and all this kind of stuff was a thing, that is the kind of shit I would be doing on the internet right there, Adrian. I love it. For anybody that doesn't get the joke, Just say it out. Just say it out loud. Just say it out loud. Oh, is that real? Is that real, Adrian? I'm going to Google it right now.
I think TFA was a better movie
sec.
because JJ had over 3 years to work on it opposed to the other 2 films that were rushed in 2 years development cycles. JJ begged execs for more time moving it from May.
Mr. Brightside, thank you so much, man. Give me one sec. Give me one sec. But Adrian, yeah. I appreciate the chuckles this evening, man. For those of you who are wondering what's going on, there's no Kenobi news. Yeah, it's basically pin 15, right? Dig it. But I appreciate that, man. And Mr. Brightside 390, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support as well. I think TFA was a better movie because JJ had over 3 years to work on it, opposed to the other 2 films that were rushed in 2 years development cycles. JJ begged execs for more time moving it from May. I don't feel like rushed is kind of difficult for me to say. I liked The Last Jedi more than The Force Awakens. I like them for very different reasons, right? The Last Jedi introduced interesting concepts, and I like the way characters were handled. It has one of my favorite moments and reveals in the entire saga at the end when we realize Luke isn't on Crate. So, from concept standpoints and from interesting new ideas, I like The Last Jedi a lot more. In terms of a movie, in terms of like the pacing and the put togetherness and the flow of a movie, I think The Force Awakens has a better flow than the other 2 in the sequel trilogy, especially more than The Rise of Skywalker for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know exactly. Rushed is kind of a difficult thing to say for me. You know, I see a lot of people say it felt rushed, or the production was rushed. That's kind of one of those phrases that I have a hard time kind of wrapping my head around. I don't know, you know, a lot of the times we don't know the ebb and flow of the back end of the production, the behind the scenes stuff. Who knows if things I mean, I'm sure most productions are super rushed. There's always a deadline, right? And you're always behind it. But yeah, I don't know. I see what you're saying. I personally like The Last Jedi more than The Force Awakens. My sequel trilogy list goes The Last Jedi, The Force Awakens, The Rise of Skywalker. So, you know. But I think in terms of just kind of the pacing of a movie, the put togetherness of a movie, the cohesion of a movie, I do think The Force Awakens has a better flow. I think The Last Jedi would have served the flow and the pace a lot better if a lot of the Canto Bight stuff, and that is super cliche of me to say, right? Super cliche of me to say. But I think it would have served the narrative and the pacing and the flow of the movie a lot better if that kind of was changed or lessened or altogether rethought, you know. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Brightside. I respect that, dude. I respect you too, man. One of the dumbest things that people do is, you like that movie? Yeah. Why don't you get in my brain? I'll get in yours. We all like different things, right? Some of us are into metal. Some of us are into folk. It's all good. Canto Bight is 11. Well, that's very true, Ed. On my first watching of, and I've said this before in my subsequent videos on the Last Jedi, months after the movie came out, Ed said Canto Bight is 11 minutes. The issue with Canto Bight is that it isn't long enough. That's a good point. After my first viewing, Canto Bight stuff felt like a slog. It felt like it was a lot more than it was. After subsequent viewings, I think I saw that in the theater 4 or 5 times. After subsequent viewings, you realize how little is actually in there. It's really not much. It's really not much. But if I had to pick some pacing issues, you know, that stuff is what kind of jolts me out of the things that I was enjoying. You know, a lot of the Luke and Wraith stuff and whatnot. But yeah, I completely know what you're saying. But all right, guys, that was an hour and 16 minutes. So let me think. I'm kind of hoarding videos. I'm going out of town next Wednesday. Gonna be gone from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I'll be home Sunday night. So, or maybe Monday. We haven't decided if we're gonna stay the night halfway through, but I'm kind of hoarding videos this week. I'm probably gonna hold off on uploading any more videos from now until next Wednesday. I'm just gonna be doing streams. So I'm just kind of making a few videos, maybe 3 or 4 videos to have scheduled for when I'm out of town, so there's not a kind of a dead space in the channel's uploads and whatnot, right? So one video that I have is titled "The Rise of Skywalker Made Me Appreciate The Last Jedi Even More." I already recorded that audio. One is about Star Wars concept art. One is about, I went down a rabbit hole of people complaining about Kathleen Kennedy, and I started writing a script about Kathleen Kennedy and why people were complaining about her, and some thoughts about that. And then I might throw a Clone Wars video in that mix too. We shall see. But all right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. What is tomorrow? Thursday? I'll be doing a stream tomorrow night. I'll be doing a stream Friday night as well. I'm not too sure about the week. Definitely not Saturday. Maybe Sunday night. I'll be doing a stream. Saturday, I'm actually going to see the Symphony play The Empire Strikes Back. While the movie's playing, the Symphony's going to play the soundtrack. How cool is that? How cool is that? Adrian Polos, once again, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. Thanks for being such a good sport about it. Yeah, man. If you've been following me and if you hate me, then you probably haven't. But you know that nothing gets under my skin. It doesn't. Nothing bothers me, and I appreciate a good troll. Trust me, I appreciate it. But Adrian, thank you so much for the chuckles this evening, man. And I hope you have a good one. I hope I changed your mind about me. Maybe you haven't tuned in the channel before. Maybe you haven't. I found that to be the case a lot of the time. You hear there's a lot of YouTubers who talk about HelloGreedo like this channel, almost relying on people not checking out the channel. They build up this weird perception of this channel, and I think they make people think that this channel is something that it's not. Those people are silly gooses. But anyway. I appreciate that, man. And Colton Phillips, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support, man. Big fan. Have watched you for many years. Love you, man. Thank you for the truly honest content. Well, Colton, Mr. Empire there. I appreciate the hell out of the kind words. I appreciate the viewership all these years, man. And I appreciate the channel support this evening. It's all about having fun, right? If you got, I'm gonna link that again. I was on a podcast recently called Across the Galaxy. It was my first podcast that I've done, in like, well, here I'll let me see. I'm gonna post their Twitter account. Is this right? There we go. Go to this link that I just posted. Scroll down and find where you can listen to that podcast. It was my first podcast that I've done in about 2 years, and I had a lot of fun on it. So yeah, Colton, check that out. You might get a little insight into the 9 years that I've been doing this. But I appreciate that, Colton, and thank you so much for tuning in all these years and supporting the channel this evening. Adrian Polos, no, I don't hate you. I had a sneaking suspicion, man. I had a sneaking suspicion. But no, I appreciate the laughs. As soon as I was not even close to reading it. My brain recognized the joke immediately. Immediately. You didn't even almost have me, man. But how hilarious would it have been if you did? Almost. Not even almost. You can't bullshit a bullshitter. But I appreciate that, man. And thanks for the support this evening. And my balls are Richie. My balls are Richie. Is that one of those things? My balls are Richie. Thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. Howdy, I think TLJ would have been perfect Star Wars movie if Rose's role was given to Finn. And Poe's role was Finn's. Joker sees war is bad. Let me take a quick sip of water here before I speak. So, if Rose's role was given to Finn. Okay, so Finn would be... Okay. Got it. And Poe's role was Finn's. So, Poe is trying to be the defector. I mean, Poe's trying to be the defect. I think it would have been interesting if so Finn kept his same role, but Poe was the one to put a stop to it, right? Poe was in Rose's place. That would have been kind of interesting, now that I think about it. If Poe was in Rose's place, putting a stop to Finn's defection, you know, there could have been some interesting headbutting there for sure. I just can't see Poe, this kind of Boy Scout, you know, this do-gooder through and through. I can't see him trying to defect. Joker from Full Metal Jacket, he means. Yeah, the main guy, right? Okay. What am I hearing? Oh, I think my wife's changing the litter box. Fucking cats. We have 3 cats now. But, you know, I think maybe if those roles and it was just Finn and Poe, things would have been a little more streamlined. When you have a lot of cooks in the kitchen and a lot of characters and whatnot, it can kind of feel a little jumbled. I don't have a problem with Rose as a character like a lot of people do. I've never understood kind of the backlash to her character. It's kind of always been very puzzling to me why people give that character a hard time. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I've never really understood why, but yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that. My balls are Richie. When his live streams were titled "Poop." Yeah, that was a couple years ago, right? I think so. Real HelloGreedo fans remember the toilet humor of your early videos. Oh yeah, there were some really like cringy, weird videos for sure. That maybe I need to go back to making some of those, right? Like, I think it's Poe learning war is bad from Finn, who left because of the whore. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, something like that would have been really interesting for sure. That entire kind of side quest and that kind of like, what do we do with these characters feeling to me, was the one thing that really bogged down The Last Jedi. And again, The Last Jedi is my 4th favorite Star Wars movie. The more I think about it over the past few years, the more I've watched it, the more I love it. So, yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. So, let's see. All right, guys. Like I said, stream tomorrow night, stream Friday night, stream Sunday night. Probably no videos until next Wednesday. I'm going out of town from the 12th to the 17th. I'm going to be working on videos this week and then scheduling them to upload that week just to have some content on the channel so there's not a dead spot. But, all right, so, yeah. Thanks to everybody who tuned in tonight. Thanks to everybody who supported the channel through Super Chats. I appreciate the hell out of it. And, yeah, wherever you guys are on this planet Earth, have a good afternoon, have a good evening, have a good morning. And I will catch you all on the flip side. See ya!